Continue to follow breaking news in Philadelphia. A man is dead and a police officer in the hospital after a shooting at a July 4th cookout. How that officer is doing and the big questions now in the minds of investigators.
A teenager is sexually assaulted at gunpoint at SEPTA's City Hall station, and now a man is in custody, where officers caught up with that person of interest.
And it's back to reality after the holiday. This is a live look from the Ben Franklin Parkway. After days of unbearable heat, cooler temperatures are on the way, where we can finally expect some relief. And today is Thursday, July 5th. Good morning. I'm Rahel Solomon.
And I'm Jan Carabeo. Jim Donovan is off today. Katie and Misha are keeping an eye on things this morning.
Hi, ladies. Hey, guys. Good morning, Jan. Nice to see you. We're looking outside right now. So the ramps that were closed around the Ben Franklin Parkway, they're reopened. But we do have a more serious accident on this Schuylkill right now that is causing some major headaches out there.
Such a difficult route to take without the accidents. My goodness. Well, at least the roads are still dry at the moment.
Good.
We had some major issues yesterday, kind of like we did the day before with the heavy rain and thunderstorms, especially north yesterday. But now things have quieted down. So it's yet another day. It feels like we're on repeat here with the heat, the humidity, and eventually a shower, a thunderstorm that will fire up. It looks like it would be a little less widespread than it was yesterday, even though yesterday was still localized. It was a bit more widespread across the northwestern counties. You shouldn't have that today. It is very much scattered and spotty in nature. Storm scan, though, again, looking a little active off to our west. We are still awaiting, however, some showers and storms, which shouldn't start to pop up until this afternoon or evening. Here's what it feels like right now. These values are pretty close to the actual air temperature, not too far off anyway. But now that the sun is rising, it's only a matter of time before they do start to officially rebound. So from feels like to actual air temperatures, again, there's not much difference there. The wind's still very light. The humidity still very high. The moisture content still very, very much just overhead. So you're going to find some fog out there. You'll notice how muggy it still is. And for yet another day, we hit 91 degrees with eventually these stray showers and or thunderstorms firing up. They could still be locally heavy, though. Again, the ample moisture will give you that opportunity. But now, finally, we can report that by tomorrow, the heat wave is wrapping up. Potent cold front is the culprit for that, though, Misha. So you got to track some thunderstorms a little later, too.
It's like you can handle some of that heat, Katie. It's the humidity. That is
always
what
makes it worse.
It just makes it so much worse. Yep. All right. Thank you, Katie. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. So this is that accident on the Schuylkill I was talking about, Schuylkill eastbound at Montgomery Drive, blocking the left lanes there. So very, very slow moving as you're driving up, having to put on your blinker and try to squeeze over to the right there around these crews. But then you're also getting some gaper delays. Schuylkill eastbound at Montgomery Drive. This is a backup shot. Let me see if I can get my clicker to work. There you go. Take a look at how busy this is. This is the camera shot right behind it before you approach Montgomery Drive, and it is bumper to bumper conditions trying to get through there. So just a heads up on this. Very, very busy. If you're heading out there right now, want to give yourself extra time for sure. And speaking of, some of those ramps are opening around Ben Franklin Parkway. Schuylkill eastbound ramp to Spring Garden, that is now open. Now we do have another accident out there in Wildwood, New Jersey, George Reading Bridge westbound. It is closed right now. Your alternate Wildwood Boulevard is going to be your best bet. Rahel, over to you.
All right, Misha, thank you. Now back to our breaking news out of Southwest Philadelphia that we've been following all morning long. A sad end to holiday celebrations after a double shooting leaves a man dead and an off-duty officer injured.
That officer was rushed to Penn Presbyterian Hospital, and that's where we find Eyewitness News reporter Trang Doe with the latest on that officer's condition. Trang.
Well, Jan and Rahel, fortunately, this officer is expected to be okay. At last check, he was in critical but stable condition here at Penn Presbyterian Hospital after he was shot twice, once in the side and once in the arm. Police say he was just celebrating the July 4th holiday like so many people last night when he was shot. Here's video of the scene overnight in Southwest Philadelphia. Now, just after 10 p.m., a large group of people were attending a cookout near the intersection of 71st and Buist Avenue when shots rang out. Now, they initially mistook those shots as fireworks, but soon discovered that two people had been shot. Both were rushed to Penn Presbyterian Hospital, and again, one of those men is an off-duty police officer stationed in the 12th district. He is recovering right now. Now, the other man shot was just 23 years old and died at the hospital. Investigators are not sure what prompted the shooting, nor do they have a description of the suspect. Now, police say the off-duty officer did not return fire, and they are not sure at this point if he was even armed at the time of this shooting. Now, Commissioner Richard Ross was here at the hospital last night visiting this officer. Right now, they are not releasing his name, but what we do know about him is that he is 38 years old and he has been on the police force for 3.5 years. But for now, we're live from Penn Presbyterian Hospital. I'm Trang Do, CBS 3 Eyewitness News. Rahel and Jan, back to you.
All right, Trang, thank you.
And a double shooting investigation is underway in Philadelphia's Fair Hill section. This happened around 10:15 on the 2900 block of North Master Street last night. Officers arrived and found 2 shooting victims, 1 man and 1 woman, and rushed them to the hospital. The man is in critical condition. The woman is in stable condition. At last check, no arrests. And Philadelphia police have a person of interest in custody after a 17-year-old girl was sexually assaulted at gunpoint at a SEPTA station in Center City. The assault happened around 10 Tuesday night on the southbound platform of the Broad Street line at City Hall. Police say a surveillance camera captured the entire incident, sparking a manhunt for this man. Authorities increased patrols, but women we talked to say they still don't feel safe.
Absolutely not here. There's too many crazy people and not enough help.
If I'm on a sub, then I'm with somebody, so it's like I really don't travel by myself.
Just before 6 last night, a person of interest was taken into custody at SEPTA's 69th Street station. Police say the man matched the description and had an illegal firearm. No word on any charges.
Happening today, demonstrators will call on Philadelphia's city leaders to stop cooperating with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. The demonstrators have been camped out for days near the ICE office at 8th and Cherry Streets in Center City, Philadelphia. Today, they will call on Mayor Jim Kenney to stop collaborating with ICE. The protesters will also demand the police presence at the encampment be called off. On Tuesday, more than 24 protesters were arrested during confrontations with police. Well, the woman who climbed part of the Statue of Liberty during an Independence Day protest has a court date later today. Correspondent Laura Podesta shows us who that woman is and the reason for yesterday's demonstration.
For about 4 hours on Independence Day, the Statue of Liberty became the site of an immigration protest.
I was like, is that a person hanging from the statue? And I was like, took my camera, I zoomed in, I'm like, oh my God, there's someone there.
Therese Patricia Okumau was protesting President Trump's immigration policies with the group Rise and Resist. They hung a banner and wore t-shirts calling for the abolishment of immigration and customs enforcement. But then she separated from the group and scaled the base of Lady Liberty.
They got like 2 helicopters and then 3 helicopters. The whole island's shut down.
Okumau is an immigrant herself. Court papers show she came to America from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Members of the group say they did not know she was going to climb the statue.
This was obviously a show of anger and passion about what is happening in America with the immigration, with families being separated and children being detained.
4,500 people were evacuated from Liberty Island while police negotiated with the climber to come down.
At first, she wasn't friendly with us, but we took our time to basically get a dialogue with her and get a rapport with her so she would trust us.
Police were eventually able to get to Okumau. They attached a harness to her and helped her down. She faces charges of trespassing, interference with national park regulations, and disorderly conduct. Laura Podesta for CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Here at home now, there was no better place to celebrate Independence Day in the city that started it all.
Absolutely. Thousands filled the Ben Franklin Parkway yesterday to celebrate America's birthday. From all the festivities, food, and fun, the highlight for many was not just the amazing fireworks, but rapper Pitbull. He really had the fans going wild as he lit up the stage, known for throwing a good party there. The Philly Pops, they also got the crowd going. People who traveled from hundreds of miles away say they were not disappointed.
Come on, it's great. It's Philly. Where else would you want to be? It's my first time here for the 4th of July.
It's pretty off the chain. I mean, it's exciting. There's a lot going on, and you have Pitbull in the background. We're able to see Independence Hall, so it's been an eye-opening experience for us.
Glad they enjoyed their time here in our city of brotherly love. And to top off that eye-opening experience, revelers turned their eyes to the sky to enjoy the amazing fireworks show. Well, some scary moments for more than 100 holiday travelers.
Yeah, we'll tell you what happened aboard an Arizona-bound flight that forced the pilots to turn around.
Plus, a soggy 4th of July for people in Houston, Texas. The incredible amount of rain that fell in the city, leaving some drivers stranded. We'll be right back.
is CBS 3 Eyewitness News This Morning with Jim Donovan, Rahel Solomon, Katie Falinger, Pat Gallen, and Misha Johnson.
Wow, take a look at this huge fire. This all happened yesterday at an automobile wrecking yard in Seattle. Dozens of firefighters worked to contain the 3-alarm fire. A thick plume of black smoke could be seen for miles. Crews say the burning car parts there and fuel made that smoke especially dangerous. The fire was out in just about 2 hours. No one was hurt. Fire investigators are now working to figure out the cause, but they don't think fireworks are to blame. Meantime, investigators are still trying to figure out what caused smoke in the cockpit of a plane flying over Iowa yesterday afternoon. The Arizona-bound Allegiant Airlines flight returned to eastern Iowa Airport. All 157 passengers were safe and accounted for. Those passengers, they tried to remain calm.
There was a little bit of smoke smell. Smelled kind of electrical kind of smell. And there was a little bit of smoke in the cab, and they quickly stopped the ascent.
I was like, oh my God, I did get to see my grandchildren before I left, and I had tears in my eyes, but yeah, at least they got us back safe.
Now, Allegiant Airlines says in a statement that crews found nothing unusual after inspecting that plane.
This morning, people in Houston are dealing with the aftermath of heavy rain and flooding. Take a look at just how high the water was there. Storms moved through yesterday, dropping 8 inches of rain and triggering a flash flood watch. Some July 4th celebrations had to be canceled because of the severe weather. City officials say their experience with Hurricane Harvey helped them prepare.
The good news is that we were prepared. We deployed all of our equipment early throughout the entire city. We have more assets than we did during Harvey, a lot more assets that are readily available.
City officials did tell people not to travel. Police responded to more than 100 calls from drivers stuck in flooding. And Katie joining us now. I'm back here at home. Katie, we may see some rain around here, if not today, then maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it just depends on location. It's another one of those where it just depends where you are. If you're feeling lucky, you know, are you going to see a shower or storm? Now, there is certainly some science behind who's going to see the better opportunity for that, which we'll get to. But yeah, you can even still see there's still some very heavy rain down at least across the southern tip of the Lone Star State right now. Even in an area that we're watching for potential anyway of some tropical development that's out off the East Coast, some heavier showers, thunderstorms as well across the northern Gulf. I mean, it's just a very active looking radar at a wide zoom, but this is the disturbance. This is the system that eventually will cross our area frontal boundary that brings with it the opportunity to finally see the worst of the heat and the humidity get wiped clean, really. So what we're looking at here in terms of the number, this is actually a model's interpretation of daytime highs. We think it'll be a little tweaked, and you'll see that in the 7-day, but I like it as a guide for the way it starts to break down the heat. So come tomorrow, cold fronts crossing through, your temperature is scaled back to only the upper 80s, which is actually where we should be. Those storms could get feisty though. Heavy downpours, gusty winds as the prime issues that we'd probably see with those. And then into Saturday, daytime highs in the mid 80s with lower humidity as a fresh dome of high pressure starts to build in with more of a northerly wind flow. That looks like an awesome day. And then high pressure is in place from that point forward. Now today, all things considered, it's still looking like a pretty phenomenal beach day. You're starting to see more reds than oranges show up with the water temperature. That's my kind of water temperature, where it gets a little bit warmer, a lot more comfortable for you. But with the kind of heat and the humidity that's still out there, this is going to feel just amazing to take a dip into. And what's great is that the rip current risk is still nice and low. So if you are one of the lucky ducks that's down there ready to take a dip at the shore here today, man, did you pick a good week for this, right? The winds is nice and light, but I would absolutely still make sure you're wearing footwear to walk across the sand because it's going to get hot very, very quickly. Here in the city, we hit 91, stray shower thunderstorm, but tomorrow everyone is fair game, and it does look like some of those storms could be pretty nasty. Generally falling during the middle part of the day. They'll move from northwest to southeast. We've got Summerfest up in Allentown, and I think they should have cleared out by the time we're doing the live shots up there later in the day, which is good news. Weekend, Misha, looks just amazing.
I know. Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday. Thanks so much, Katie. Good morning, everyone. So we're looking outside at where that accident was on the Schuylkill eastbound on Montgomery Drive. Thankfully, that has now since been cleared, but take a look at that tension. The residual effects still all that backup trying to get through that area, even though now it is clear, but the amount of volume that's out there, and you're still going to have this kind of effect linger out there for the next, I'd say 20 minutes or so. Hopefully it starts to ease a little bit of this tension, but now that we are approaching the half-hour mark past 6 o'clock, that's usually when we start to see these levels kind of almost sustain themselves. We'll see what happens, but still give yourself some extra time through that area. Speaking of the Schuylkill eastbound ramp to Spring Garden, that is now open from the festivities yesterday. Very serious accident here in Middle Township, New Jersey. So Route 47, George Redding Bridge, it is closed right now. So you will have to use your alternate. North Wildwood Boulevard is going to be your best bet. Again, this is a serious accident, so stay clear from this area. Another accident that was out there in New Jersey for quite some time, actually, on Route 130 southbound, that has now since been cleared. Rahel, back over to you.
All right, Misha, thank you. Fireworks explode in the sky over Camden as the city held its Freedom Festival. Thousands packed Wiggins Waterfront Park to get a glimpse of the pyrotechnics show. The crowd shouted their oohs and ahs as the night sky was filled with the bombs bursting in air and a beautiful display of color. And for many in our region, hitting the Jersey Shore is a July 4th tradition from Cape May to Atlantic City. The shore yesterday was sparkling with holiday observations and celebrations. People packed the beaches in North Wildwood, relaxing under umbrellas with toes in the sand. Workers at the Yankee Wiener food cart say the sunshine and crowds translated into cash for them.
It's absolutely huge. Like when we come down here, it's hit or miss. And so we're grateful to have a beautiful day. I mean, everyone's enjoying the sun. All the guys here are slinging dogs, so we're having a great time.
Now, for many who spent the day down the shore in Jersey and Delaware, the sun and sand usually makes way for ice cream and other treats. Then the big finish with the fireworks on the beach. Well, terrifying moments for a mother when she sees her 3-year-old daughter unresponsive in a pool.
Fortunately, though, there were 2 first responders vacationing nearby. Hear how they quickly took action to save that toddler's life. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Our weekend is something to look forward to. We have got not just bright blue sky and sunshine for you, but also comfortable summer warmth, mid-80s throughout the span of the weekend. And the game changer is that humidity will be wiped clean. It'll feel great. Find an excuse to get outside, guys.
All right, Katie, thank you. Now for a look at newspaper headlines from across our region.
The Courier-Post has details on a second alert from New Jersey health officials about a potential exposure to measles. It's centered on Virtua Marlton Hospital and a Westmont yoga studio. If you visited the hospital between 6:40 a.m. and 6 p.m. on June 27th or the yoga studio between 5:45 and 9:10 p.m. on June 26th, contact your health provider.
Wilmington's News Journal reports on a proposed law that would require companies receiving city tax dollars to hire apprentices and pay workers at least $15 an hour. The bill would require 30% of work hours to be completed by apprentices. The mayor is reviewing the bill, but hasn't taken a position on it just yet.
The Bucks County Courier-Times is showcasing the Chamonix High School's robotics class. About 80 students there designed, built, and flew drones. It's all part of the district's focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
And that's a look at some of the newspaper headlines from around the Delaware and Lehigh Valleys. And some scary moments for a mother after finding her 3-year-old daughter unresponsive in a pool in Florida.
Fortunately, 2 first responders happened to be on vacation and were right there. This all happened on Tuesday in Daytona Beach. New York firefighter Jessica Campato was enjoying some time off with her boyfriend, Trooper Matt Colwell, and her 2 children. That's when they heard the woman scream for help. Campato immediately jumped into that pool while her boyfriend watched her children.
Immediately started compressions, mouth to mouth, just trying to clear her airway and get her going. I was able to get some water out of her, clear her. She was starting to breathe. I could hear her making noises.
The toddler regained consciousness before an ambulance arrived. She is now expected to make a full recovery.
Glad to hear that. Back here at home, we continue to follow breaking news.
A Philadelphia police officer is in the hospital today after a late-night shooting. Trang.
And that shooting left another man dead. I'm Trang Do from Penn Presbyterian Hospital with the latest on the officer's condition.
Plus, a crash ends with a car inside of a house. The charges that driver is now facing.
And good morning, everyone. Well, roads are finally starting to open up a little bit after the festivities last night, and we are heating up out there. Plus, we've got a few accidents as well. I'll have all those updates coming up, but first, we're going to take a quick break. Stay right where you are. CBS Eyewitness News will be right back.
From the CBS Broadcast Center in Philadelphia, this is CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Carabeo. Jim Donovan is off today.
And I'm Rahel Solomon. It's 6:29, and here's what you need to know to start your day in the morning minute. Today is Thursday, July 5th.
An off-duty Philadelphia police officer is injured and another man is dead.
Police say this officer was off duty, just celebrating the July 4th holiday when he was shot.
It's still hot, it's still humid, and we do have one last day of highs into the 90s before we finally start to see a little bit of relief. Come tomorrow, we've got showers and locally heavy or gusty thunderstorms.
The woman who climbed onto the Statue of Liberty yesterday will be in court later today. 4,500 people were evacuated while police negotiated with the climber to come down.
Journalists around the world will observe a moment of silence at 2:33 this afternoon. That moment marks 1 week since the deadly shooting at the Capital Gazette newspaper in Annapolis.
It is the Super Bowl of eating, Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
The legend continues.
Chestnut outdid 20 challengers and broke his own record, downing 74 dogs in 10 minutes to take home his 11th mustard belt.
Today's Morning Minute and tomorrow's medical advancements are brought to you by Penn Medicine.
You know, to each their own, but the thing that always sort of creeps me out about the contest is that the contestants tend to dip the bun in water to make it easier to go down. And that is just not a pretty image, Katie. Yeah.
Ugh. I feel bad for the people that are just trying to enjoy their cereal and milk right now. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're trying to keep the weather a little more appetizing for you. Yeah. I think especially a look ahead here, it's going to be it for you. But today is still much like the rest that we've seen this week. It's a little less harsh, a little less oppressive, but it is still hot. And it's certainly still very muggy when you walk out the door. That's one of the things you notice. What's nice, though, is I'm not showing you heat advisory graphics today. So those have now since gone out of effect. At the moment on Storm Scan 3, we do have a little veil of clouds here and there. It's still very steamy, certainly, and you can see a few speckles of green starting to show up back over Maryland, but we don't really have to worry about any wet weather here until this afternoon or evening at the earliest. So we hit temperatures that are back into the 90s, off to a very warm start, as you can see, so it'll have no problem on the thermometer, rebounding right back into the 90s here for yet another day. We go down the shore, you've got very similar idea here. An onshore wind flow has actually allowed some fog to develop. The wind is so light, but you have a lot of moisture to draw upon, of course, with a huge ocean next door. So that is where that fog is coming from, but that is starting to thin out already. You end up with more sun than anything at the shore. That's the place to be right now. It has been pretty much all week. Once more, we'll see a shower thunderstorm popping, especially from city on north and west. In the meantime, though, take a look at what happens in the days ahead. So these numbers represent the dew point. In other words, how does it feel outside, the comfort level? And when the dew point drops as low as it's about to this weekend, the comfort is back. But we do have to pay a price to get to this point. I will explain and time it all out for you just a little bit later on. Mish?
All right, Katie, thank you for all that information and a very good morning and a happy Thursday to you. So we were looking at an accident, Schuylkill eastbound on Montgomery Drive, that has since been cleared. And this was your backup shot, and it was bumper to bumper conditions, basically all the way around this curve. Now you can see it is starting to lighten up just a little bit, and we're actually looking a lot better. But you can also see how many vehicles are still out there regardless. So I would still say give yourself maybe an extra 15, 20 minutes through that area. Then the Ben Franklin Parkway, that is now reopened from the festivities last night. Schuylkill eastbound ramp to Spring Garden, that is also open there. Now we do have a more serious accident in Wildwood right now. So Route 47 westbound, it is closed at George Redding Bridge. So you will have to use an alternate. North Wildwood Boulevard, that is going to be your best bet around this. Again, this is a serious accident. The accident in New Jersey on 130, that has now since been cleared. Quickly, AC rail line, it is suspended right now. The Delaire Bridge is stuck in the open position, suspended between 30th Street and Cherry Hill. I'll be, of course, tweeting that out for you. Jan, back over to you.
All right, Misha, thank you. We are following breaking news out of Southwest Philadelphia. A double shooting leaves an off-duty police officer injured and one man dead.
Police say they were at a cookout last night when a gunman opened fire. Eyewitness News reporter Trang Do is live outside of Penn Presbyterian Hospital where the officer is being treated. Trang, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rahel and Jan. Fortunately, this officer is expected to be okay. At last check, he was in critical but stable condition here at Penn Presbyterian Hospital after he was shot twice, once in his side and once in his arm. His colleagues say that he was just attending a July 4th celebration like so many of us last night when he was shot. But take a look at this video from the scene overnight in Southwest Philadelphia. Now, just after 10 p.m., a large group of people were attending a cookout near 71st and Buist Avenue when shots rang out. Now, they initially mistook those shots for fireworks, but soon discovered that 2 people had been shot. Now, both people were rushed to Penn Presbyterian Hospital. Again, one of the men shot is a police officer stationed in the 12th district. He is recovering. The other man shot is just 23 years old. He died at the hospital. Right now, investigators are not sure what prompted this shooting, nor do they have a description of the gunman. Police say the off-duty officer did not return fire, and right now they are not even sure if he was armed at the time. Now, Commissioner Richard Ross was here at the hospital last night checking in on this officer. They are not releasing his name at this time, but they tell us that he is 38 years old and he has been on the police force for 3.5 years. So far, no one has been arrested. But for now, we're live from Penn Presbyterian Hospital. I'm Trang Do, CBS 3 Eyewitness News. Rahel and Jan, back to you.
All right, Trang, thank you. That water main break in Center City, Philadelphia we first told you about earlier this week has left behind a major mess, and now we've learned it could take months before repairs are complete. The 48-inch main burst early Tuesday morning at Juniper and Sansom Streets. Workers were given the okay to go back to work yesterday after concerns that the area around the hole would give way. More than 24 properties were affected. Now to another mess, this one on a beach in Brigantine. A Jeep burst into flames here just before 9 o'clock yesterday morning. We're told passengers were trying to push the Jeep out of the sand when the engine caught fire. Crews were able to put out that fire. No one was hurt, but the Jeep is a total loss.
Journalists around the world are being asked to observe a moment of silence this afternoon. The observance is set for 2:33 p.m., exactly 1 week since a man opened fire inside the newsroom of the Capital Gazette in Annapolis, Maryland. The shooting killed 5 employees at the newspaper. A court appearance for the man accused in the murders is scheduled for later this month. Overseas now, crews in Thailand are working to free those 12 boys and their soccer coach from the flooded cave that they have been trapped in for now almost 2 weeks. So rescuers have now started drilling inside of the cave to help drain the floodwater. They're pushing heavy rocks and pumping water out, all in hopes of bringing the water level down so the boys can swim or maybe even walk out. Meanwhile, Navy SEALs and medics are with the boys and their coach, nursing them back to health. And staying overseas, UK authorities say the British couple who was poisoned was exposed to the very same material used to poison a former Russian spy in a nearby area. That happened back in the spring. Yesterday, officials announced that the couple had been exposed to the nerve agent Novichok. Police say it is unclear if the couple was targeted or if the poisoning was somehow accidental. Both victims are in critical condition.
Our priorities at this time are to care for the patients and to understand the circumstances surrounding how these 2 individuals became unwell, thus ensuring there is no further risk to the public's health from this incident.
Police are now trying to figure out if this incident is linked to the earlier poisoning of the Russian spy.
Well, this is a sight to see. A car launches into the air and gets stuck inside of a home 10 to 15 feet off the ground in Wisconsin. A couple was home when that car barreled into their house and crashed into their bedroom. Police arrested the driver and have since released him on bail. The couple says that driver came to their home the very next day with his wife and 3 children to apologize.
He just couldn't stop crying, and he was so sorry, and he was afraid. He was glad that we weren't hurt, and I told him, I said, I accept your apology, and please lead a good life from now on.
Now authorities have charged that driver with recklessly endangering safety and possession of marijuana.
This morning, we are meeting a man who turned a childhood hobby into a business empire.
Pat Gallen has his story. Pat.
That is correct. And all it took was opening the boxes in his mother's garage. It's called Nucadia. We'll tell you what it is next.
Darren, congratulations on being one of the top 10 all-purpose yardage leaders in football history. Does being on this list mean more to you than other records?
Yeah, being an all-around player, it means that you can help your team on all phases.
Who do you think is similar to you today?
One guy, Rowdy Blue.
Who the heck is Rowdy Blue?
You mean Cure Auto Insurance, don't you, Darren?
That guy from Cure Auto Insurance just serves all purpose, just like me.
You don't have to be an all-purpose back to save on car insurance. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Beautiful shot from the steps of the Art Museum and a nice shot of the city. All right, thanks to photojournalist Kyle Hall for that shot. I know it was about 4:15 on a Thursday morning. And back on Eyewitness News with flames tearing across the west as wildfires scorch thousands of acres of land.
As correspondent Andrew Spencer shows us, strong winds are fueling the flames, making this firefight even more difficult.
Strong winds whipped up the Lake Christine fire, burning in Basalt, Colorado, northwest of Aspen. The fire grew quickly Wednesday. Evacuation orders came in for people to leave immediately. No time to pack.
I'm scared because I don't have a chance to take anything.
Of course, we're scared, right? But we have our pets, we have our kids, and we're going.
With erratic winds making predictions difficult, the Eagle County Sheriff's Office said residents who feel unsafe should leave and not wait for evacuation orders. There's also a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Spring Creek fire in southern Colorado, as evacuees wait to find out when they'll be able to get back home and whether their homes will still be standing. The Spring Creek fire is now the third largest wildfire in state history. As of midnight, it was still only 5% contained, having burned more than 95,000 acres. In California, the county fire has burned almost as much land, having scorched more than 86,000 acres across the Napa and Yolo counties as of Wednesday night.
My house has never been a mile away from burning up, so yeah. Pretty scary.
Right now, dozens of wildfires are burning across the West, and more than 13,000 firefighters and support staff are doing what they can to try and contain them. Andrew Spencer, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, check this out now. An absolutely huge mess. This is the second half of a distillery that collapsed yesterday in Kentucky, less than 2 weeks after the first half collapsed. It's not yet clear how much whiskey is lost here, but when the first half collapsed, officials say they lost 9,000 barrels. Now, fortunately, there were no injuries. The owner of this distillery faces steep fines in the first collapse. There's no word yet if any fines will follow this second collapse.
All right, back here at home, Katie joining us now. And Katie, what are the weather watchers seeing? Is anyone up this early after the holiday?
Yes. You know, it was slim pickings yesterday. Understandably, holidays are always tough, but I do give big props and big shout outs to those of you that did wake up. I think it was like all of 5 or 7 maybe of you for the 5 o'clock hour yesterday. You guys are super loyal. Really do appreciate it. And we do have a few more out there this morning that were up and at 'em and reporting for us. And I want to show you just some representative photos here. So, you know, this is a very pretty picture if there weren't condensation all over the window here. Phil Chaplin sent this one in. He clearly took it from the inside of an air-conditioned space. On the outside, it's so much steamier. Beautiful shot, though, of the fireworks last night. I'm not exactly sure where these were taken. There were so many different fireworks shows going on, but Ed, I know, is out in Chesterfield, so I'd at least hazard a guess that he was out in New Jersey somewhere. We're taking some photos of that. Beautiful night for it, for at least many of you. Some of you were stuck with the rain and the thunderstorms off to the north and west. Here's where we currently stand, though, from the watchers, mid-70s. Very common theme here. Warmest so far is in Cardington, Delco. Bill is at 76. Oh, here we go. Kenneth's in Willingboro at 77, as is Peter up in Lawrenceville. So a warm and muggy start for everyone. Claudia, too, in Regalsville at 77 degrees this hour. Now, we look at the storm scan view. High pressure is technically still in control. Already a couple of pop-up thunderstorms back through western PA. But focus on this, okay? This is the next front that starts to work its way east. This is what brings about transition, but not without a price. Eventually, we'll end up with some pretty strong thunderstorms, I think, especially when it comes to heavy downpours and gusty wind potential out of this. So this is during the day tomorrow that you're going to see the bulk of this rumbling on through here. It'll move from northwest to southeast. So we've got Summerfest going on in Allentown, and I think think the storms are out of here in time. I know the producers are watching that are working the shift today. They're listening. This should be out of here in time for the Summerfest festivities that we have going on up there. But that said, some of these storms could again be causing us issues throughout the span of the day as they migrate northwest to southeast. So especially towards the typical late day, early evening drive nearing the shore points, you're going to see some pretty heavy rain rumbling through here. That's tomorrow. Into the weekend, though, what a gorgeous stretch. Mid-80s, full sunshine. And here's the clincher, Misha. The humidity wipes clean, at least for a couple of days. It looks awesome.
That just puts the cherry on top right there that the humidity is not going to be here. Awesome. All right, Katie, thank you for that. And we're looking outside at our backup shot. So this is a backup camera from when we were looking at that accident on Schuylkill eastbound on Montgomery Drive. Now, that accident has since been cleared out of the way, but you can see those backups, that residual, it is still out there, almost bumper to bumper conditions here. So if you're heading out there right now around Schuylkill eastbound on Montgomery Drive, this camera shot is showing you as you're approaching Montgomery Drive. I would give yourself some extra time. I would give myself an extra 30 to 40 minutes right now. When you see levels like this, it's just going to be very, very slow. And we are just now approaching the 7 o'clock hour, which of course is our main hour of the rush. So heads up. Cool shot here, really kind of neat. 95 south at Allegheny. Taillights are pushing in the southbound direction, but look at that cloud overhang over the city. That just looks absolutely kind of eerie, but kind of cool. 95 pushing in the southbound direction. You're actually looking okay in terms of volumes, maybe getting a little hung up as you head into Center City, but we're looking okay. Now, we do have a serious accident here in Wildwood, Route 47 westbound. It is closed at George Redding Bridge. You will have to use your alternate. North Wildwood Boulevard is going to be your best bet around that area. The other accident is clear, but take a look at this. AC rail line suspended. Delaire Bridge stuck in the open position. It's suspended between 30th Street and Cherry Hill. Jan, back over to you.
All right, Misha, thank you. Communities all across the U.S. have their Independence Day traditions.
But not too many of them have a tradition quite like this. It's the hospital bed races in East Moline, Illinois yesterday. It's part of the city's firecracker run. Among the teams in the running, pirates, Elvis impersonaters, and, yeah, even a panda. A family of 5 took home the gold, and they say they plan on defending their title again next 4th of July.
I want in.
Looks like
I
a
like the
fun time.
panda.
Yeah. A man's childhood comic book collection has now turned him into a very successful businessman.
Eyewitness News reporter Pat Gallen is here to introduce us to the local man behind the world's largest online comic book seller based right here in our area. Hi, Pat.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Jinx.
Thank you, Rahel. Anyway, yeah, so that's correct. Let's meet Jim Drucker. He's led professional athletes. He's worked for major cable outlets, but his passion now, comic books.
These may look like ordinary boxes, but here in a random warehouse in Norristown, they hold a collector's dream. This is the headquarters for Nucadia.com. What is Nucadia, you ask?
Nucadia.com is the world's largest comic book store that sells only on the internet. We started with 800 comics in stock. Now we have about 800,000, and we sell 250,000 each year.
Jim Drucker, the former commissioner of both the Continental Basketball Association and Arena Football League, has his mother to thank for this impressive venture.
I read comics from about the age of 5 or 6 to 12. I wouldn't let my mother throw them out, and they just collected dust, and they went from basement to attic to garage, back to basement, attic, and garage.
The 800 comics saved by his mom were the starting point for a business that has been unstoppable, and with help from the recent boom in comic book-based movies. Drucker's collection also includes some very rare pieces.
This is the first issue of My Favorite Martian. It's in really good condition, about $300. Now, if you were smart, you would have bought a dozen or 500 of them. Here's a comic, a Batman comic from 1954. Yeah. Hold it carefully, it's worth $400.
Perry Kern has a comic book collector's dream job. He's the man who grades each book and assigns a value. He's been at this for a decade, so he knows what he's looking for.
We grade in 7 categories, and the grade can go from anywhere from 1 to 8. We're looking to see if the pages inside are, tinted, if they're off-white or they're perfectly white.
Perry also examines the cover to see if the color is correct, or if there are small creases that slightly devalue a comic. He's also looking for fraud.
The one thing you want to look for is you want to make sure that it wasn't retouched. Sometimes people will take like a fine tip pen or something and try to match the colors exactly.
Drucker splits the profit of any person who sells a book on his site, but he's also looking to enlighten folks who might have a hidden gem in their grasp.
We've sold books for as low as 25 cents and as high as $2,500 for one 10-cent comic book. There are probably a lot of people who have a lot of money sitting in boxes in their garages, attics, and basements.
So today is an off day for some. I want you to run to the garage or attic, open up all those old boxes, find those comic books. You could have hundreds, if not thousands, I don't know, millions of dollars in your garage. You gotta clean it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then go to Norristown.
Yeah,
see
and
Jim
nice to
Drucker.
see the old Black Panthers too.
Yeah,
those comic books.
Yeah,
really
pretty
cool.
neat. They got some cool stuff. You got it.
All right, time now is 6:51, and there is a lot coming up on CBS this morning.
Anthony Mason and Alex Wagner join us live from New York with a preview. Anthony and Alex, good morning.
Hey, Rahel. Hey, Jen. Good morning. New York's Liberty Island plans to reopen this morning after a protester climbed the Statue of Liberty. Now, the woman who was protesting the separation of immigrant families was able to get so high.
Plus, how many times a day do you get a robocall? Anna Werner looks into why there are so many and what you can do to stop them.
And on vacation, many of us reach for our phone, get this, every 3 minutes.
Yikes.
How you can unplug from work and the benefits of disconnecting. All that plus the eye-opener, your world in
90 seconds.
We'll see you at
I
7.
may be guilty of that.
Me too. All right, guys, we'll be watching. Sounds like a good show today. And a special Independence Day celebration in Camden. 40 people took their oaths of allegiance yesterday aboard the battleship New Jersey. They all hail from 27 different countries. More than 14,000 people nationwide are becoming U.S. citizens from June 28th to July 10th. Congratulations. And from coast to coast, Americans came together to acknowledge our great nation's birthday.
And like many of us, the first couple took a break from their duties to celebrate. President Trump and the First Lady stepped onto the balcony of the White House to view the fireworks show above the National Mall. They hosted a picnic for military families, saying they are honored to celebrate with the heroes who protect American independence. And it was an all-out party at the annual Capitol 4th concert on the west lawn of the Capitol. The show salutes the men and women in uniform as well as their families. Spectators enjoyed performances by legends such as the Beach Boys, Jimmy Buffett, and CeCe Winans.
Manhattan's spectacular light show dazzled the sky above the East River. More than 60,000 fireworks burst into light. It's dubbed the largest 4th of July show in the country with an estimated 3 million spectators. The light show lasted for about 25 minutes with never before seen pyrotechnics featured. And the annual Boston Pops July 4th Fireworks Spectacular included a star-studded cast of internationally acclaimed artists this year. Singers Rita Moreno, the Indigo Girls, and Rachel Platten headlined the concert. The fun day of festivities draws more than 400,000 people. So great celebrations all across the coast, from coast to coast. We certainly hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. We'll be right back with 3 to go.
Oh, say can you.
It's time to go, so here's 3 to go.
One man is dead and an off-duty Philadelphia police officer is in critical but stable condition after a double shooting at a block party in southwest Philadelphia.
Journalists all around the world will observe a moment of silence this afternoon. 5 employees of an Annapolis, Maryland newspaper were shot and killed in their newsroom 1 week ago.
And the Legoland Discovery Center hosts a building event at the Independence Visitor Center today. This afternoon, they will unveil an 11-foot-tall Lego version of the Comcast Technology Center. And that is 3 to go.
Time for one final check on weather and traffic.
Well, we've been finding some low-lying cloud cover in a couple of places. I just want to show you one example of this. You might find it at the shore as well, though I did see, at least in Cape May, and that camera that we had there, it's starting to thin out. But a place like the Poconos, for example, you may find that here this morning. It's another very steamy day. We hit 91 to continue the heat wave. Stray shower storm, more widespread showers and storms with a frontal passage tomorrow.
All right, Katie, thank you. And we have a serious accident here in Wildwood. So Route 47 westbound, it is closed at George Redding Bridge. You will have to use an alternate. North Wildwood Boulevard is going to be your best bet around that. And then a quick peek at 42 Freeway northbound.
All right, Misha, thank you. Well, coming up next on CBS This Morning, what you can do to stop robocalls.
And remember to join us each weekday morning here on CBS 3, starting, of course, at 4:30 a.m. And when you're away from your TV, follow us online, cbsphilly.com, for updates throughout the day. Have a great day.